Hello and welcome back to our online English class. Today we are going to finish Unit 7, so we will be looking at Lesson E and F. Okay, so let's go ahead and open our Student's Book to page 92. Student's Book, page 92. So let's take a look at the picture in Exercise 1A. Let's talk about what we see in the picture. Okay, so we might say there is a woman and she is sitting at her desk. She looks worried or unsure. She is looking at a budget and women's suits on her computer. Maybe this is a website. So maybe she's shopping for suits. And we can also see 3 other people in the room standing and talking. Maybe they are her coworkers. Her clothing looks plain, and maybe that's why she's looking for suits. So now we can take a look at exercise B, and it says, read the letter from a newspaper advice column. So this column is called The Money Man, and it seems that people write to this person to ask for advice, especially about finances, because the title is The Money Man. So a long time ago, people used to write letters to newspaper advice columns to ask for advice, and then they would publish the answers in their next publication. You can also see advice columns in magazines as well. But now most people email questions because of course everything has moved to the internet. But anyway, let's take a look at this letter. Dear Moneyman, I recently got a new job in a downtown office. I need to look nice every day. I've never worked in an office before, and I don't have the right clothes. Most of the women wear suits to work. How can I get a new wardrobe without spending my entire salary? Can you give me advice? Not clothes crazy. Now, this woman addresses herself as not clothes crazy. So she's saying that even though she's asking for advice about clothes, it's because of a need, something that's a necessity, not because she really wants to buy these clothes. Often for advice columns, we see people giving a nickname or just a name that describes their problem instead of their real name. Because sometimes, it's embarrassing to share your real name, and you don't want to do that anyway for something that is going to go out to the public. So let's take a look at the questions. So it says, what is the woman's problem? What is the woman's problem? So take some time and try to state her problem in a sentence. Okay, so you might say, she doesn't have the right clothes for work. And you could also say, she needs a new wardrobe for work. She needs a new wardrobe for work. And wardrobe means outfit. So outfit, wardrobe, those words mean like a set of clothing. So you can summarize the information from her letter, and you might have some other sentences, and that's fine. Okay, so let's take a look at number 2. What do you suggest? So you could think of some ideas and write them down, or just say them verbally, or practice with someone. And keep in mind that since these are suggestions, we need to use should and could. If If you remember, we learned how to use should and could in lesson B, modals. So if you need to review that, you can go back to lesson B, but it's pretty easy. So let's go ahead and take some time to think of some suggestions. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at page 93. We're going to read the response from the money man. Okay, so, dear not clothes crazy, it's important to look nice at your job, but you don't need to spend all your money on clothes. I have a few suggestions. First, why don't you buy a black suit with a skirt, jacket, and pants? Then wear a different blouse and jewelry every day for a different look. Second, you could shop at thrift stores. They often have excellent used clothes at very cheap prices. Third, how about talking to the other women in your office? They can tell you about good places to shop. Finally, you should make a monthly budget and follow it carefully. Following a budget is the best way to manage your money. Money man. Okay, so we can see the suggestions from the money man, and it looks like there are about 3 because he says first, second, third, and finally, so actually 4. So if you look at that box on the bottom right hand corner, it says use words like first, second, third, and finally to list your ideas. So that's what we are practicing for this writing lesson, using words like first, next, finally, or first, second, third. Okay, so the question says, what does the money man suggest? So when we answer this question, of course, we need to say, the money man suggests, okay, but I'm gonna first just write the original verb. So after suggest, you can use suggest that, and then subject, and then original verb, or base verb. I'm just going to write base verb. So you can say it like this, or you can also use gerund. Okay, so for example, we could say the money man suggests, so we have to use the third person singular form of the verb. So suggests that she buy a black suit with a skirt, jacket, and pants. Okay, then wear a different blouse and jewelry every day for a different look. So that's the first suggestion. Now we could also use a gerund form, so let me do that for the second one. We could say, second, he suggests shopping at thrift stores. So when we use suggest, these are the common phrases that we use together with suggest. So practice this for the third one and fourth one, the third suggestion and fourth suggestion. Okay, so we could say, he also suggests talking to the other women in her office. This one actually already uses the gerund. If you look at it, it says, third, how about talking to the other women in your office? So we can just change that to third person. He suggests talking to the other women in her office. Or he suggests that she talk to the other women in her office. And then finally, he suggests that she make a monthly budget and follow it carefully. Or he suggests making a monthly budget and following it carefully. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at exercise 2. It says, read the letter, write an answer. Start with the problem and then write 2 or more suggestions. And of course, you can use the previous exercises, 1A, B, and C, to help you. So let me read that. Dear Moneyman, my wife and I have 3 young children. We both work full-time. When we come home from work, we are very tired and don't want to cook. We eat in fast food restaurants 3 or 4 times a week. It's very expensive. Last night, the bill was $44. How can we save money on dinner? Fast food dad. Okay, so go ahead and take some time to write a letter as though you are Moneyman, and write it to fast food dad. Make sure you start with the problem and then write 2 or more suggestions and use words like first, second, third, and finally to list your suggestions. Okay, so your responses and suggestions will probably look a little different, but maybe you might include some ideas like meal prepping. Meal prepping is actually really popular these days, and meal prepping is when you cook all of the meals for the week, usually during the weekend, and then you place them in individual portions, like maybe in a Ziploc bag or in Tupperware, those plastic containers, and then you freeze them and you take them out one by one for each day of the week. So that's called meal prepping. It saves a lot of time. Of course, on the front end, you have to do a lot of work, but then you don't have to do any more cooking for the rest of the week. So that is a very popular method of saving time and saving money and eating healthy. And then another suggestion might be using coupons and deals. There are so many coupons and deals for pretty much any restaurant out there. And then many restaurants also have special nights, like kids eat free night, and buy one, get one free. So there are a lot of discounts that they can take advantage of. Okay, and by the way, take advantage of means to take the opportunity and not miss the chance. So if there's an opportunity to get a discount, then take advantage of means to get the benefit from it. Okay? They could also buy frozen meals, which are cheaper than eating out, and sometimes even healthier, depending on the kind of food you get. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to page 86 in our workbook. Page 86 in our workbook. Okay, so lesson E, writing. Exercise 1, match the money problems with the suggestions. Okay, so let's look at the first one. I don't have enough money to buy lunch. Okay, and then if you look at the answer, it's letter C, and it says, how about bringing lunch from home? Okay, now I want you to go ahead and complete each one, and if you are practicing out loud, then I want you to add the question that we asked before when you are asking for advice. You can ask, what should I do? Okay, so what should I do? So for number 2, you could say, I'm worried about being in debt. What should I do? So just practice that if you are practicing verbally, and of course match the answers to the problems. Okay, so number 2, I'm worried about being in debt. What should I do? You should see a debt counselor, so letter D. Number 3, I don't have enough nice clothes for work. What should I do? So letter B, you could go to a thrift store. So letter B. And then number 4, I'm too tired to cook dinner after work, but takeout meals are unhealthy. What should I do? So letter A, why don't you cook meals on the weekends and freeze them? So that's an example of meal prepping. Prep, by the way, let me write that down just in case. So prep is short for the word preparation, or actually prepping. So this is a gerund form. So as you can see, the word prep comes from either of these. So meal prep, okay? Let's go ahead and look at number 2, exercise 2. Read the letters, answer the questions. So let's look at the letters together. Dear Money Guy, I drive to work every day, but gas is very expensive. My car uses a lot of gas, and I can't afford to fill up my car. I also need to see an auto mechanic for repairs. I'm worried about having the car break down on the way to work. What should I do? Can you give me advice? Worried Larry. Okay, so let's see the response. Dear Worried Larry, I have a few suggestions for you. First, ask a coworker to give you a ride to work, and you can share the cost of gas. Second, you could drive to work 3 times a week and take the bus twice a week. Finally, you could think about taking the bus for a couple of months and saving money for your car repairs. You might enjoy taking the bus. Then you could sell your car. Money Guy. Okay, so let's take a look at number 1. What are Worried Larry's problems? Okay, and we can see the first one is done for us. It says, gas is very expensive. Okay, so go ahead and take some time to complete the rest of number 1 and number 2. What are Money Guy's suggestions? So you can use this format as we talked about earlier, or you could use the imperative. So for example, you could just say, ask a coworker to give you a ride to work and share the cost of gas. So you don't need to say, he suggests asking a coworker, or he suggests that he ask a coworker. You can do that if you want. It's good practice anyway. But since the space in the book is limited, you can just make it shorter by using the imperative form. So you could just say, ask a coworker to give him a ride and share the cost of gas. That's the first one. So just complete the rest of this activity and we will look at it together. Okay, so Worried Larry's second problem is that he can't afford to fill up his car. He can't afford to fill up his car. And the last problem is that he needs to see an auto mechanic for repairs. He needs to see an auto mechanic for repairs. Okay, and then Money Guy's suggestions are to ask a coworker to give him a ride and share the cost of gas. That's the one we did together already. And then the second one is drive to work 3 times a week and take the bus twice a week. Drive to work 3 times a week and take the bus twice a week. Okay, and then the last one, take the bus for a couple of months and save money for his car repairs. Take the bus for a couple of months and save the money for his car repairs. Okay, so those are the 3 main suggestions. Now, if you want, you can include the last sentence, which is actually connected to the third suggestion. So, you know, if he takes the bus for a couple of months and he enjoys taking the bus, then he could sell his car. So you can add that too. You can say if he enjoys taking the bus, he could sell his car. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to page 87.